there's been a multitude of interpretations emerge as a consequence of that story. What was God up to? Was God in fact evil, the initial God? Like, why would he create a snake? Why would he put it in the garden? Why would there be these trees? What the hell is going on with the whole Satan thing? You know, it's very, very problematic. Well, we'll talk about it more. And this, again, is, let's call it speculation. Well, if you want to make something strong, you test it. And maybe if you want to make something ultimately strong, you test it ultimately. And I think that there's an aspect of being that has that element, is that human beings are tested ultimately. It's partly because we know good and evil now. And so that's the landscape in which we exist. So you could say the landscape is a cross. It's chaos and order, and it's good and evil. And we're stuck in the middle between those two things. It's a very common theme, by the way, in video games. Exactly that. Chaos, order, good, evil. It's the basic plot of endless video games. And that's perhaps because it's the basic plot. Well, those are the things we have to contend with. Well, I had a vision once. I shouldn't tell you this, but I will anyways. I had a vision once that I went to heaven, and I was put in a Roman amphitheater with Satan, just like Thor encountering the Hulk, right? That's coming up in that new Avengers movie. And so that was rather a shock, because I thought that was a hell of a thing to happen in heaven. And so I had this battle, and I won. And at the end, I came up to God and said, like, you know, what's with the whole Roman amphitheater thing there? It seemed like a bit over the top to me. I said, why would you put me in a ring with something like that? And he said, because I knew you could win. And you know, I don't know what to make of that. One thing I should make of it is I shouldn't tell you, but whatever. But you know, there's something to that in my estimation. It's like, do you protect the people you love, or do you try to make them strong?
So you think it's not that we have like Satan to thank for making us substantial, it's that God gave us Satan in order to make us substantial?
Well, I'd hesitate to say that, because you know, it's so cut and dried. But I would say that that's a strong underlying theme in the biblical narrative. Yes. Now, it's certainly not the only theme. It's not the only interpretation by any stretch of the imagination. But there is something there. And there's something there, you know, at the end, we didn't talk about this. God puts up this flaming sword and these cherubim to keep you away from the tree of life. It's like, it seemed, if paradise and immortality are the promised land, then what's with the whole flaming angel and sword thing? We could have just had the damn fruit 5,000 years ago and not bothered with the problem. Well, it seems to me that there's something like, I don't know what it is. Consciousness through tragedy, clarity through suffering, maybe something like that. Or maybe the perfection that lurks as a potential in the future is something that has to be earned rather than given. Maybe it has no value without free choice. Maybe we have to distinguish between good and evil now that we have the capacity to actually apprehend them. Maybe that's what life is about. Maybe that's the separating of the wheat from the chaff.